This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Lenovo is built for creators who don't wait for inspiration. They chase it. With inventive tech, built-in AI tools, and seamless performance, Lenovo devices powered by Intel Core Ultra processors are designed to bring your wildest ideas to life faster. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Enjoy flexible financing, rewards on every purchase, and free shipping. And students get special offers when you create an account at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Saks Off 5th, up to 70% off every day. Summer is officially here. Time to dress like it. From breezy linen and floral dresses to chic sandals and beach-ready swim. Saks Off 5th has the designer styles you'll live in all season long. Plus, shop new arrivals every week. You'll find Alice and Olivia, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day.
Minneapolis, get ready. Music legend Paul McCartney is bringing his Got Back tour to US Bank Stadium October 17th. Tickets drop July 18th at 10 a.m. That was 3 days ago, but you can beat the rush. Register now for artist presale at paulmccartneygotback.com. One night, one icon. Don't miss it. Full details available at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Wrong entertainment category. I forgot to do the we've all heard those rock concert commercials where they'll mention the band and then they'll play a clip of and it's generally the chorus of a song like, Journey, don't stop believing. See Journey this weekend. I want to know what love is. Done. And so I like to do that.
And then it feels like the first time.
I like to do that with the McCartney thing. I promise I'll do better next time. So what does your boyfriend do for a living? The Associated Press Sports says WNBA All-Stars make statement with warm-up shirts over CBA. Dateline Indianapolis says the WNBA All-Stars wanted to send a clear message to the league on the game's brightest stage. All the players on Team Clark and Team Collier warmed up for Saturday night's WNBA All-Star game in shirts that read, "Pay us what you owe us." Nafisha Collier said, "We get a very tiny percentage of all the money that's made through the WNBA, which obviously is made through the entertainment we provide. So we want a fair and reasonable percentage of that." The demonstration comes after the players in the league failed to reach a new collective bargaining agreement at an in-person meeting Thursday. The league's players opted out of their last CBA in October and are looking for a better revenue-sharing model, increased salaries, improved benefits, and a softer salary cap. After the failed negotiations, many players said there was a large discrepancy between what they wanted and what the league was offering, which shouldn't come as a shock. To me, there's always been a big discrepancy about what you want and what the radio station
no doubt about that.
Pay, and the same with me. If a new CBA is not reached by October, some players, including Collier and Angel Reese, have mentioned the potential of a walkout. Some fans got in on the fun. There were chants of pay them and pay the player signs were out there during the game. Another player said, "We had no idea that they were in solidarity with our demonstration. I've been hearing it all weekend at the fan events, supporting us and wanting us to get our fair share of the value. And I don't see anywhere in this story, and maybe I should do a bit more research, but I guess I don't care enough. But I think it raises some interesting issues. I thought that the WNBA was maybe that's changed since what's her name? Every time I see yellow, I think of her now rather than
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. Maybe that's changed with Caitlin Clark, which would be a dramatic change because isn't this her second year in the league? Or is it her first? Second year. I thought the WNBA was losing money, was just being supported by the owners in the NBA. I thought am I wrong there? Have they always made money and
I think probably for the longest time, that's probably accurate, but I would also say that information is probably coming from the owners too. Okay. I don't know how much they're stretching the truth. And I'd have a hard time believing the current state of the WNBA, they're losing money.
Well, that's but I don't know if I doubt that. I mean, you could be right, but like a couple of people have weighed in, it says if WNBA players were paid what they generate in profits, they would owe the league $400 million a year. The WNBA is a profit-losing business. Someone else said common WNBA media rev going up tenfold next year. Yeah. Your employer revenue grew by 10 times. Wouldn't you expect a raise? So there's two different people. Another one says WNBA lost something like $50 million last year. If players want to get paid what they are owed, the players would individually have to pay $300,000 each to the league. So I don't know what to believe.
So that's what I say is they are projected to, the revenue is about to increase mightily because of the television money that's going to be coming in.
Then they probably should get more. But that answers my question then. The projections are because of the television revenue, they'll make more money. I guess the league could say, well, we're just trying to make up for all that lost revenue, which I think would be a weak argument because if you own a WNBA team, if you are the NBA just, they're leaving TNT and going strictly to NBC. And it's not just because they didn't like the way they were covered by TNT. That had nothing to do with this. It's because they were getting a huge revenue boost from NBC. So it's not like I'm going to shed any tears or feel sorry for the National Basketball Association or its owners. But if they were losing money, I mean, most businesses run that way. I mean, you have businesses that are nationwide, right? And they have, let's say, 800, 900, maybe 1,000 different individual shops, for lack of a better term, right? In some of those markets, they ain't making any money. They're losing money. In other markets, they're making boatloads of money. And in some of those markets, it might be one of maybe a half a dozen entities that's making a lot of money. But yet that money they don't just go, well, that entity then is going to get to have all the money and all those people get raises. And it's like, well, no, we have to spread the wealth to everybody. So in other words, there's probably a couple of coffee shops that are helping prop up the sagging sales of another coffee shop so that everybody flourishes. That makes sense. In this
current radio market, it makes a lot of sense.
I was kind of alluding to that. I was saying it. That was you. That was you who was complaining about it. You're the one. I wasn't complaining about that.
I wasn't complaining.
I had nothing to do with that. That was all Tennessee. But that's kind of just the way it goes. And so if the WNBA was supported for all those years by the NBA, now they're making money, all of a sudden they want more. I don't blame them. They probably should get more because the NBA, they're a cash cow. But it's like, do we lose? You wouldn't, if it wasn't for the ownership propping up that league for all those years, there would be no league. Is that right? Do you think?
Sure.
I mean, because it wouldn't have been self-sufficient. Now again, I'm just going by these are just text messages, and how accurate they are, I don't know. But I guess the league could say, well, we're just trying to make up for all that lost revenue, which I think would be a weak argument because the NBA, they're a cash cow. But if it wasn't for the ownership propping up that league for all those years, there would be no league. Is that right? Do you think? Some of it could be fake news. It says WNBA does turn a profit. NBA is funding it. If they paid them what they were owed, they would owe the league money. According to some estimates, Caitlin Clark alone was responsible for $875 million of the WNBA's revenue last year. That's about 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA would eclipse $1 billion. And then he cites an NBC.com/sports/Caitlin-Clark-WNBA/business.
It's a lot of slashes.
Story. Well, then should it actually be Caitlin Clark gets a great big huge check and the other players?
She deserves a lot of credit for whatever raise they're about to get. There's no doubt about that.
So, should they raise this? I don't know what they should do. I just know I'm happy to be here. I'm just happy that they allow me to spew this drivel every day, and they pay me. They pay me a fair share and then some. So anyway, this one says, the owners are definitely propping up the league, but they're also building a valuation for a sale of the team in the future that potentially makes generational wealth difference. It's all very complicated to me. That's all I know. All I know is I like making logo threes. I just actually like saying logo three more than making logo threes. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Tennessee, you got a keyword for us?
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks for their national cash contest. Just enter the keyword pay at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is pay. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out. But no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/iHeart. That's greenlight.com/iHeart.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Feels like the first time. Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. You know, they say time flies when you're having fun. I actually thought we were at the 2:30 segment. I was about to say, last segment of the day, we've only gotten 2:18.
Long way to go.
Yeah, trust me. There's a long way to go. Here's my advice to the WNBA players. Just continue to hum this song every day. What a pro wants, what a pro needs. CBS News did a poll recently, I think this raises some, I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
This poll says most Americans favor the United States returning to moon and going to Mars. First of all, we never went to the moon. That was nothing. Tenby, you know as well as I do, that was staged in a Hollywood studio. For what reason, I don't know, but it was. So this would be our first journey to the moon. Here's what the story says. There's a lot of public favor for the idea of the United States returning to the moon and also for eventually going to Mars. About 2/3 do, while a third does not. Younger Americans who are not old enough to remember the first moon landing are especially in favor, perhaps looking forward to seeing the exploration in their lifetimes. These views generally cut across ideological and party lines as well. First moon landing in 1969 continues to loom large in the public mind. All these years on, a big majority say it's worth doing, while just a quarter say that it is not. That may be partly because, in general, Americans tend to think that the space program adds to at least somewhat to feelings of national pride. People tend to think it also contributes some, if not necessarily a lot, to technological contributions from which anyone can benefit. And they have these charts and graphs and all of that. And this is a topic that I don't know if saying it rears its ugly head, because I don't know if it's really an ugly head, but I'll ask you, Teneby, would you be really excited, and are you all for spending hundreds of millions of dollars? I mean, a manned space trip to the moon would be, what's the price tag on that? And then Mars? And we're talking billions, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
This isn't millions. This is billions.
Oh.
And you think to yourself, and again, I don't know what the national debt is. I don't know what our budget is every year. And there's a lot of people that need help with money. All the programs we have, just paving roads and Social Security and everything else. I've never felt like sending a manned mission to the moon or Mars is really worth the money anymore. But maybe I'm just too old and stodgy. Your thoughts?
I haven't put a lot of thought into it. I'm not going to act like I know, what percentage of the budget NASA takes up and these trips take up compared to our entire national budget. But I would just say, generally speaking, I'm in favor of continuing. Yeah. What if an alien comes and attacks us someday? Sure, it'd be nice to
alien comes in
have some information. What if we get attacked by aliens?
Oh, I think you said in Texas, because I think Texas, everybody lives in Texas is an alien to me. I mean, those people are oddballs.
That's a different kind of alien, yeah. No, but I mean, all the different technologies, like you just mentioned, that will arise in the future that we haven't even seen the fruits of that labor yet.
Will they because of the moon? I'm not sure they will because of a moon landing. Maybe they would. Maybe they don't. I don't know. People assume they will. What I would say is...
What if global warming is going to destroy this planet and we need to come up with civilization on the moon someday?
I don't think that's going to work very well.
Probably not.
No. If we're donezo here, we're donezo.
And what do they always say about living on Mars instead of the moon?
Mars ain't the place you want to raise.
Moon's a little closer.
Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. It's cold as hell. And there ain't nobody there to raise them if you did. To me, it's just my job 5 days a week. I will say this, though. With the technological, like Deuce and I were watching Gilligan's Island yesterday. And they have the episode was a major storm hits the island and a telephone cable washes up. And they're going to tap into it and call for a rescue, right? But Deuce kind of rolls his eyes, shrugs his shoulders, and shakes his head at the special effects of the lightning, right? He goes, really? I say the same thing. Imagine with the technological advances in film, how much more real we could make the moon landing look than we did the last time. Because the last time when they did it in Hollywood, I mean, it looked pretty cool, and we all bought into it. But you look at it now and you go, well, that doesn't look very realistic. Imagine how they could do it now. I mean, you put Spielberg in charge of that, or Scorsese, or Bogdanovich, or I'm running out of directors. Can you help me? Coen Brothers. Who else? Hitchcock. I mean, imagine what they could do. How realistic they could make the landing on the moon look. Because the last time, I got to admit, when I've watched it since then, and you could just tell it was done.
There's a lot more internet sleuths now, though, right? Remember the SpaceX shuttle that went up a couple months ago that had Katy Perry on it? There were conspiracies for weeks after that about how it wasn't real.
Let me ask you a question, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Would you give up on the Vikings ever winning the big game if we could have a successful Mars colony?
A successful Mars what?
Colony. You know, people living there.
Depends what people we could send there.
If I can't continue to live here and just breathe oxygen without a helmet on, I'm out. I just want to go to Mars and have a spacesuit on. I mean, how do you play golf? Think about trying to play golf with a big spacesuit on and a helmet and try to swing. I mean, my swing's bad enough as it is. You think it's over the top now?
Well, Neil Armstrong did it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or was it Buzz?
Well, I think it was Neil. He hit a knockdown punch cut. Maybe it was Buzz Aldrin. He hit a knockdown punch cut fader. Well, you know what I have?
What club would you bring up there with you if you could only pick one club to hit off the moon?
Well, my 5-iron could just as well be a pitchfork. So, I'd want to tee it up and hit a driver. That's what I'd want to do. My brother was he was a golf memorabilia collector. I think he was the one that gave me this, or maybe someone sent this to me in the mail because every once in a while you'll get gifts and messages from some flounder. And it's a little box. I'll bring it in and show it to you. And it says it's the replica of the ball that was hit on the moon, and I'm sure it was like a pet rock thing. I'm sure people went, whoa, this is the exact same kind of ball that Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin hit when they were on the moon. I think I'm going to buy that. And it's in a little tiny gold and black box. The box is kind of worn and beat up now. But the golf ball's in there. I'm going to bring it in and show it to you. And so I've kept it and it's not claiming it was the ball. It's not saying that. It's just saying that you too can own the same exact golf ball as a souvenir, sort of like a souvenir or a souvenir.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah,
keepsake.
A keepsake. Here's what you can have. It's just like the one, and it's only going to cost you $8.99. So it's like that same deal where you can have a star in the galaxy named after you.
I know.
I wonder if I just name my own star after me and not send you the money. I'll just look out. That one right there. Matter of fact, the one that was beneath the moon this morning. If anybody can tell me, I could look it up, all right? I could Google it right now. Matter of fact, I think I will. But this morning, whatever planet it was, just below and right to the moon, I mean, it was gigantic, just glowing there. And I don't think it was an incoming plane either. I
still think we should sell common man golf balls. Like a picture of your face on it.
It was Alan Shepard who hit the golf ball on the moon, if I'm tend to be. I think that's right. I think it was Alan Scheffler. Not Shepard, but Alan Scheffler. We'll break. We'll come back. We got one last segment to go. And boy, are we ever thankful for that. Common Man program on the Fan.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out. But no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
I think you might, at least one of the listeners thinks you're either onto something or you're on something regarding your golf balls for sale at the KFAN booth. This one says, should sell 10 packs of golf balls at the fair with the KFAN logo on one side and a picture of Tenna fist pumping on the other. Call it 10 packs by Tenna. You too could have an experience that's not unlike a PGA Tour pro with these golf balls, is the way we would say it. I think that's a good idea. Makes some sense to me.
I always love that one.
List Radio, our favorite radio. It's lazy radio. It's what a national Fox Sports talk show host once said. And we absolutely agree. We concur. And there's nobody lazier than me. Training camp is upon us. Matter of fact, the Vikings, I think rookies and youngsters reported yesterday, vets today or tomorrow. And, Wednesday is when we'll be there, broadcasting live from noon until 3. We always look forward to that. Tenevie and I, noon to 2, legendary Mark Rosen will join us at 2 o'clock. And the Vikings are always very good at providing us a player or two or a personality or two to talk to. So we expect to have that for you as well. But this List Radio, Tenevie, with training camp upon us, says 32 reasons to be positive, one for each team. The reason to be positive going into the season. I'll give you an example. How about this for the Buffalo Bills? Josh Allen. I guess, yeah, that would make you positive, right? I guess you could say the same thing about the Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes. As a matter of fact, for any team that has a top 5 quarterback, that would be, I would think, the biggest reason.
You have a chance every year.
Yes. You know what it says for your Chicago Bears? What do you think they have? Their one reason. Now, there may be more, but their biggest reason for being positive.
Coaching change, Ben
Correct.
Johnson. Yeah.
Arguably, the biggest addition throughout the entire offseason was the Bears landing Ben Johnson. In just his first offseason at the helm, you can already see the imprint on the roster. With Chicago bolstering its offensive line and adding an array of weapons for second-year quarterback Caleb Williams. Johnson has shown us during his days as the Lions OC that he's a tremendous play caller, and that's widely expected to translate to being a head coach. Chicago's days in the dumps may be a thing in the past. I will say this, though, Tenevie. It's easier to be a really good play caller when you got a really lot of good players to call plays for, right?
Yeah.
Lions had, well, if you believe, what was that website earlier in the show? Atlas Sports?
Was it Walter Football?
No, it was, I don't remember what it was. You sent it to me. What was it?
Sharp Football?
Sharp Football. Going into last year, the Lions they thought had the best offensive line in pro football. That was where they ranked. So when you have a really good offensive line that can provide time for your quarterback to throw and for your running backs to go through holes, you can be a pretty creative play caller. And if you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, when you've got
Sam Laporta, David Montgomery,
when you've got Shock and Awe, what was the name of the player again?
Sonic and Knuckles.
When you got Sonic and Knuckles, it's easier to be a great play caller.
And the offensive line they had.
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
They had the best offensive, according to Sharp Sports, They had the best offensive line going into last season, and a lot of people would agree with that. So, and this isn't to take anything away from Johnson, because as a Lions fan, I loved him. I loved the things he was doing. But if you remember, one of the play calls he made, I think this was last season during a playoff game. Well, they only had one. I think it was in the Washington game, or maybe it was a year before in one of the other playoff games, where he decided to do the trickeration, where have the Jamison Williams guy throw the football. And it's like, dude, sometimes you're just trying too hard. There's no reason at that stage of the game. The game it's like, especially Jamison Williams doesn't seem like to be the brightest bulb on the team. And of course, what did he do? The play calls for him to throw the ball. So double and triple coverage be damned, I'm throwing the football. And that's what he did. It's like, you needed to tell him before that if nobody's open, just run. Take a knee. Run out of bounds. Curl up in the fetal position. But don't throw the ball into double or triple coverage. He did. It was picked off, and that helped solidify the game. So how good of a play caller is he?
It seemed like
really?
the Lions had a trick play in every single game.
Well, they did.
They had more. Yeah, yes. They had more trick plays than anybody.
But when you call them at certain situations with a guy that the wide receiver throwing the football, I'm not against it. But of all the trick plays, that's one that I always kind of cringe, right? Even when it works, you're like, I can't believe that, because wide receivers generally not. I don't think he's taking reps in practice throwing passes.
Well, I don't think they're having them do it unless they have some competency at the position. A lot of those players played quarterback in high school. Like Randy Moss had a couple wide receiver passes back in the day for the Purple.
I'd still prefer my wide receiver not to throw the football, because in that it helped cost him the game that time. So sometimes you just gotta. There are other trickerations you can do: double reverse, flea flicker. I'm not big on my wide receiver throwing the football. It does work sometimes. It has. He completed some, but I'd rather not in playoff games take that kind of a chance. What does it have for the Green Bay Packers? It says Jordan Love's late season surges. It says for the second year in a row, Jordan Love has shown us his ability to come alive down the stretch. I think that's a window into the peak of his powers, which Green Bay should hope, comes together throughout a full season. Over the last 2 seasons, Love has gone 11-5 with 28 tutties in just 2 picks between weeks 11 and 18. However, Love's hot streak came to a screeching halt with 3-pick performance in a one-and-done showing against the Eagles. While that definitely leaves a sour taste, Love is flashing elite potential at times, and with first-round receiver Matthew Golden now slotted in as another weapon, it's possible we see more of that version of the Green Bay quarterback. How many years has Love been a starter now? Will this be year 3 or 4? 3.
I feel like he's been 3 so far.
3, so this will be year 4. There was much weeping and gnashing of teeth in Green Bay. I think more so by the former quarterback than anybody else.
This will be his 3rd year as a starter.
3rd year as a starter.
So he's been in the league for 4 years.
There was
started 2.
There was plenty of weeping and gnashing of teeth. And as I say, I think more by the quarterback than anybody else, but certainly the fan base and many football observers when the Packers decided to draft Jordan Love rather than a wide receiver to help Rodgers. Remember, Rodgers was kind of wondering what they were doing. And, I've said this. If I've said this once, I've said it a couple 13, 14 times. I had no issues with them selecting a quarterback because, as you've heard me state on many occasions, you're general manager, caretaker for the organization. You're not going to be there forever. Most GMs just aren't. I don't think there's a team in the National Football League that has had the same GM the entire existence of the franchise. A lot of them couldn't because of the Green Bay general manager in 1934 wouldn't be alive today, so of course he wouldn't be there. So I get all that. But if you see a quarterback that you think is going to be franchise quarterback, you got to draft him, right? Even if he sits on the bench for a while. That's what they did when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. He sat on the bench for a while behind Brett Favre. And I know Rodgers was, but I think you and I discussed this at the time. It's like, well, if you're such a great quarterback, make your wide receivers better. I think quarterbacks make wide receivers look better than receivers make quarterbacks look better. Yeah. Except for some. I mean, there is the exception. I mean, Justin Jefferson looks like, and Jamar Chase can probably make any average quarterback look above average. But, and I've liked what I've seen of Love. Now, and it says here, and I guess I'm not paying as close attention to Green Bay or Love, but it sounds like at the end of the last 2 seasons is when he's been really good. I still think he's got a chance to be a great player.
He might want to start surging earlier.
Well, that's what he should do, yeah. But it does seem like he's got a chance to be somebody special, but we'll see how that goes. For your Motor City Kitties, Tenby, what do you think is the biggest positive going into Lion season?
I would say the health of the defense.
And specifically Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. It says Aiden Hutchinson's return. One of the key storylines for the Kitties entering 2025 will be how they deal with the blow of losing both coordinators to head coaching jobs this offseason. While that'll certainly be an adjustment, Detroit still has one of the most talented rosters in the entire NFL and was the number 1 seed a season ago. And they did that without star pass rusher Aiden Hutchinson, whose season was cut short due to a fractured tibia and fibula in week 6. Before going down, Hutch had piled up 7.5 sacks through 5 games. If he returns to form and remains a type of impact player off the edge, the Kitties will continue to push for a big game berth. I think that's putting a lot on his shoulders. I mean, I think he's important and that would help. But and maybe this is just the pessimistic Lions fan in me, but they have a reconnoitered offensive line, as we talked about earlier in the show. And, moving a couple of pieces around isn't bad, but they lost one of the best centers in pro football to retirement. And losing the coordinators, I'm not sure. I mean, they do still have a lot of players. Maybe it's just me being that typical Lions fan, like Viking fans always expect a lot. I guess most fans of teams, when their team hasn't had any, you've never won a big game, you just kind of expect all to go sour, but I think there might be more to it than just than Hutchinson.
What do you know about the defensive lineman Levi Unwazurike, who he's out for the season for the Lions due to an ACL injury?
He was
found that over the weekend.
I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a situational guy.
Okay.
I think he was one of those guys that he was hurt quite a bit of last year too, if I'm not mistaken. But then again, maybe not. Your Minnesota Vikings, Tennessee. What do you think the biggest positive that is?
What leads you to be optimistic?
Yeah, what leads you to be optimistic? The number one thing.
They've improved the trenches.
We're getting more optimism about the Vikings than any other team, I think, in the league. This is what this says. Perfect roster.
Wow.
To usher in young QB. Perfect roster. Perfect.
Not really say perfect.
It says perfect roster to usher in young QB. Here's what it says. A key storyline throughout next season will be the development of Vikings second-year quarterback J.J. McCarthy. He was sidelined due to a meniscus injury last season, which helped pave the way for old Sam Darnold to produce in that role. As McCarthy now takes the keys to the offense, there may be some level of concern/wonder about how he will fare. Well, the former Michigan quarterback does have the benefit of having the best collection of talent around him in the league. Let me repeat that. The former Michigan quarterback does have the benefit of having the best collection of talent around him in the league. Minnesota spent the offseason bolstering the interior of the offensive line, further providing McCarthy with protection. Meanwhile, the skill position group is headlined by he's JJ, he's Jordan Anderson, he's TJ Hawkinson, and he's Aaron Jones. They don't even mention that we also, who's the kid from San Fran? Running back?
Jordan Mason.
They don't even mention him in this. That's not mentioning an offensive guru, head coach Kevin O'Connell in his ear. McCarthy is set up to thrive as he ascends to QB1. I mean, if you've ever, I don't know if I've ever read anything like this that would lead me to want to ask you the question, do you like parades more than this?
Who wrote the story? Is it a national story?
It's a CBS Sports story. It's Tyler Sullivan. The best collection of talent in the league. I don't know. I don't know. I do think we have there's talent. I mean, there's not a roster in the league that doesn't have some talent, some obviously more than others. I'll say
it again, though, after JJ, who's a star player on this team?
I don't know.
Like your next best is Darissa Grenard?
Gink, I guess.
But like when we were talking about the front seven earlier, I'll say it about the entire team. There's not a lot of guys that you're considering top 100 players that are coming off the Minnesota Vikings.
Two things. This one says, let's go. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. Then there's this one. Tyler Sullivan is a Vikings fan.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, well, it sounds like, yeah. You know, why can't media people, and you know who they are, Timothy, why can't they separate their fandom with reality? Why does it always have to be colored and checkered with what a pro wants, what a pro needs, you know? I think you do a pretty good job of, look, you're the Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah.
You're the inventor of tarp shooter. Hockey is your sport. You're part of the hockey community. I think you do a really good job of being fair and balanced, though, where you don't go, I really like this. I mean, now you did get carried away back on July 4th, 19, whatever, or 20, whatever that was, 2015, 2016,
2011.
2011.
2011, 2012?
When you started calling them the Skatriots. You got a little carried away. But for good reason. Those were a couple of really good players. We never had it. Hope was running high. People were selling it. You were buying at a premium.
We were thought to have one of the best prospect stables in all of the National Hockey League.
In other words, we were deep in talent.
At the time, Mikhail Granlund was listed as the number one prospect in hockey.
Who?
Mikhail Granlund.
In other words, we were deep in talent.
Yeah. And we also knew
in talent.
We were still going to have salary cap space to get a free agent later on. Unfortunately, we used it on Thomas Vanek.
Deep and talented. Just like the Twins. Deep and talented. Everyday roster, everyday players, bullpen in the starting staff. And, you know, PA's the guy that coined the phrase, it's going to be the Vikings and the Falcons in the NFC Championship game, and you're on your own after that. If you'll remember, Timothy, that season, I think the two teams combined for 5 wins. And, you know, they're members of the basketball community. Let's just face it, they've painted some pretty pictures about this Wolves team over the years, too. And we all know about the Polat pocket protectors. And that's like, for me, look, I always wait for the other shoe to drop. And I'm the first guy to say that just because that's happened in the past over and over and over again doesn't mean it's going to happen again. But I think I told you this. And you can think it's just, you know, some people would call this you're trying to soften the blow by saying, I think the Lions had a window that was wide open the last 2 years, and I think it's been slammed shut. Not only has it been slammed shut, but I think it's been nailed shut. Boarded up. They're nailing boards over their window. I just don't.
I do fear they missed their chance.
I do too. I really do. I feel like they had their opportunity. 2 years ago they were up 24-7 at the half in the NFC Championship game and lost. It was theirs. They were going to the big game. That was reminiscent of the Vikings. That was as close to being up by 7 with the best place kicker in the league who hadn't missed it all and misses, and you could have wrapped up the game and you lose in overtime. It's as close as you're going to get to that. And then last year, you know, I know the defense, it was the decimated Detroit defense, but I think losing a couple of guys on the line, and I don't know how much the coordinators will mean. It has to mean something, you know, but maybe the other two guys are wizards too, and they'll make a name for themselves. But I
feel, and I know there's other examples that go against this, right? That there are exceptions to the rule. But generally speaking, I know other than Bill Belichick, I think to have sustained success over a 10-year stretch where you've got a chance to win it every year for those 10 years, you need to have an elite quarterback and probably an offensive-minded head coach.
I would tend to
When you
agree.
don't have either of those,
Yep.
then you have windows. And I kind of think that's where Detroit's at. Jared Goff, let's face it, he's been much better than we ever thought he would be in Detroit.
Yes.
Don't know if he's elite. And I don't know, while I like Dan Campbell, I don't know if he's like some sort of great play-calling offensive coach. So then what happens is you are going to lose coordinators. You're going to have pieces outside of your coach and your quarterback. You're going to have pieces moving in and out, and it's going to be harder for Detroit to draft now because they're going to be at the bottom of the draft. And so I think you're more likely to just have smaller windows when you don't have those two things locked up.
Yes, I think you've summed it up quite well. And with the Vikings, again, I'm cautiously optimistic. They were good last year, 14-3. They addressed one of their weaknesses. Maybe the most glaring we've all thought about for the last several years is the middle of their offensive line. But are the players that they spent a lot of money on in free agency, are they still as good as they once were, and how do they rebound from injuries? And then, of course, as the season plays out, things can change. But a lot of people are saying that I think it can be the Vikings' division to win or lose, to be honest with you, Tim. Though, of course, Green Bay should have something to say about that. It's probably Minnesota, Green Bay, Chicago, then Detroit will bring up the rear as it used to be back in the olden days. Thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 noon. Rosen will be in at 2. Big Ticket JG, they're next. Right here on The Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
Good night, folks, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Lenovo is built for creators who don't wait for inspiration. They chase it. With inventive tech, built-in AI tools, and seamless performance, Lenovo devices powered by Intel Core Ultra processors are designed to bring your wildest ideas to life faster. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Enjoy flexible financing, rewards on every purchase, and free shipping. And students get special offers when you create an account at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Saks Off 5th, up to 70% off every day. Summer is officially here. Time to dress like it. From breezy linen and floral dresses to chic sandals and beach-ready swim. Saks Off 5th has the designer styles you'll live in all season long. Plus, shop new arrivals every week. You'll find Alice & Olivia, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Business software is expensive, and when you buy software from lots of different companies, it's not only expensive, it gets confusing, slow to use, hard to integrate. Odoo solves that because all Odoo software is connected on a single affordable platform. Save money without missing out on the features you need. Odoo has no hidden costs and no limit on features or data. Odoo has over 60 apps available for any needs your business might have, all at no additional charge. Everything from websites to sales to inventory to accounting, all linked and talking to each other. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.